Hey guys, Dan here. I just wanted to do a quick update video, and I kind of wanted to share with you guys some thoughts on audiobooks. I used to never really listen to audiobooks, and the reason why was that I always found it to be a hassle. See, the last time I ever tried to listen to an audiobook, they used to be on like media before they had streaming, and it was either on cassette or CDs. And I just found it to be a real pain in the ass to have to change out like a CD or a tape in order to keep listening. And another thought I had on audiobooks is another reason why I was never really big on audiobooks was that I felt like it was kind of cheating. Like, I felt like it wasn't the same, if it makes any sense. It didn't have the same sense of completion or having, read a book. Like, say, if you listened to, like, the Game of Thrones, it's so many hours versus having read the total thick book. I felt like that was kind of cheating in those regards. So that's kind of why I never really listened to audiobooks. And then kind of like when the book community started like having people get sponsored by Audible, I was kind of turned off by it too. But recently, I have been listening to audiobooks more so because my job, I was listening to true crime podcasts and IT-related podcasts, but I've kind of gotten bored with those. I think I've listened to almost every single podcast I've wanted to listen to, and they do update every week, but just, you can listen to all of them in like 1 or 2 days, and then you have the rest of the work week to get through. So, and another thing I was thinking of mentioning was the last audiobook I really listened to, like all the way through, was this Stephen King Joe Hill book called In the Tall Grass. For some reason, this book was only available as an audiobook format. I don't know why. I don't know if it was in a short story collection or, what the reasons were that it was only available in an audiobook format. But yeah, I listened to it as an audiobook. And that was quite a while ago. Not too long ago, but long enough ago. So I started, to listen to audiobooks at my job. And the first one I started to listen to was The Haunting of Hill House, which of course everybody knows because of the Netflix series, and I swear there must have been a movie version of this too, because upon listening to this, it kind of felt like I had seen this as a film somewhere, possibly. Not 100% sure. It was something that I wanted to read, the book by Shirley Jackson. But, being that, it is a classic, and it is something that I don't know if I'm going to get to it right away. I had an opportunity to download the audio version of it, and I listened to it. And I have to say, I wasn't very impressed with it. It felt like it just kind of dragged on, and I don't know if the reason why I didn't enjoy it as much is because of the narrator. And I think having a great narrator really makes an audiobook enjoyable. I'm going to give you different examples, but like this Haunting on Hill House was narrated by some old lady. I don't even remember who it was narrated by, but she kind of talked like this, and really kind of, cracky old voice. And I don't know if it was like intentional to try to make it sound creepy, but it really just came off as being really obnoxious. There were parts of the book I'll admit, I kind of zoned out because of this annoying voice. Like, this lady's voice just kind of was uber annoying. I just thought it was just okay, and I kept thinking to myself, everybody's like, this book is like 4 or 5 star ratings on Goodreads. I'm like, am I missing something? Because another thing was I just didn't find it to be very scary. It was just okay. I thought it was just okay, but maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I will give that a read someday in the future after having listened to the audiobook. But I am going to be listening to more audiobooks because, like I said, I can't do this at my job. I mean, my job is so mundane that I can listen to music, podcasts, or audiobooks. I have listened to a few already. I have purchased, and they're on my shelves, Harry Turtledove books. I've never read any of them, but I got an opportunity to listen to A Different Flesh by him, which was really interesting because it was an alternate history where Homo erectus had crossed the land bridge instead of the indigenous people that we call Native Americans today. So it was kind of interesting, and he went through different time periods of America's historical development for this world. It was really interesting. One of the downsides, I did do this review as a blog review. I will have a link to that down below if you'd like to check that out. I don't really feel like it's fair to do a video review of audiobooks because I don't really have anything to share with you guys. I don't have fancy movie editing software where I can put up the covers here to show you what the covers look like. So yeah, I will do those reviews on my blog. But I really enjoyed that one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 star rating on Goodreads. And I think it's going to make me want to check out his other books. It was really good. Although I will have to say his sex scenes were really awkward. And the fact that he kind of used the same phrases to describe the cave people was kind of annoying. Like he'd say beetled brow over and over again, like numerous times throughout the book. At one point I was thinking about counting how many times he said that phrase in regards to the people he was describing, but yeah, but it was an enjoyable book anyways. After that, I decided to give Rosemary's Baby a listen. Really enjoyed that. That one was narrated by Mia Farrow, who was the star from the old 1968 Rosemary's Baby film. That really made it. So I think even if she didn't narrate it, that still would have been a very enjoyable audiobook. Because it had the music for dramatic scenes and thrilling scenes. Really intense at times, but I think it did have a slow start with that one too, because it kind of reminded me of American Psycho in the way it kind of described the New York City apartment element and how different things were kind of in vogue and all that. I thought was kind of obnoxious, but once you got past all that and they finally got situated in their apartment, the story really started to pick up, and it was really intense. For those who've seen the film but have not yet read the book, there were added additional scenes that once the film cut out, it kind of ended at a certain point in the film, but in the book it kept going for a little bit, and it tied into a sequel, which I didn't even realize there was a sequel, Son of Rosemary's Baby, or Son of Rosemary, which I didn't even realize that there was a sequel, both film and a book version. Don't bother going out and trying to watch the film version. It's horrible. I did find it. I tried to watch it. I think I watched probably 90% of this film. It was just horrible. It was done in the 70s, and it looked like it was made for TV or something like that. It was really bad. Let's just say, because that film was so bad, I'm not in a big rush to go out and read or listen to the sequel of the book. But it is what it is. And of course, the next audiobook I'm going to be listening to is Cujo by Stephen King. And I was thinking listening to audiobooks is going to give me an opportunity to go back and revisit, because I did want to go back and reread a lot of books that I had read 20 years ago when I was a teen and in my early 20s. And I feel I think audiobooks will be a good opportunity to do this. I can revisit some of these older books that I thought were so great, and I want to see if I still feel the same way about these books. So I'm going to be listening to Cujo by Stephen King. And of course, I may or may not always do reviews, but of course, you can always follow me on Goodreads if you want to, see what I rate stuff. I'll be brutally honest with you guys. I don't necessarily follow everyone back on Goodreads unless you have a certain amount of books that in your collection, that you have read, and books in common. I really only prefer to follow people who have books in common, like similar tastes in books. I don't just willy-nilly follow everyone back. But yeah, that's kind of where it's at. I have a feeling this is going to be my year of audiobooks because I think I'm going to be able to, like I said, I'm going to go back and revisit those older books that I had read in the past. Maybe check out some classics too on the way because I got all this time and I found like these resources from my library that I can download these audiobooks and listen to them without having to get an Audible account. So yeah, that's where we're at. As you know, I mentioned before, I will have those links to those book reviews down below. Of course, there's the tip jar if you want to help me out. So that if you think I should be doing audiobook reviews, I kind of need movie editing software. So if you want to throw in some money in the tip jar so I can purchase that, then yeah, I can start doing audiobook reviews as videos. But until I have the movie editing software, it just seems kind of pointless because I feel like I can't talk about something without showing you like an example of it, if that makes any sense. Leave me any ideas or thoughts you have.